All right, we are back. Thanks for sticking with us. We are ready to jump on into game number 2 between SpyderSlayer and Winter. It is going to be on Catalina.
That's right. And, I think that Winter seems like he's really ready and determined. I think that he's a little bit upset that he lost that game and is ready to come back and send a message.
Yep, and we'll see what he has up his sleeve. I think we're going to see some very very varying play out of both of these players, as it feels like both of them are willing to kind of just throw caution to the wind as far as trying some builds, being aggressive and that kind of thing. But I love ZVZs like that. It's definitely my favorite. But moving into Catalina, this map is so huge. On the 9 o'clock position, the very left side of the map, the yellow Zerg after a victory last game. His name is SpyderSlayer.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, getting ready to send a message to his opponent, it is Winter. So the two are talking about the previous build that was used by SpyderSlayer on that map, and I think SpyderSlayer is giving credit to a person that he played on the ladder a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely cool to see on that map that gold base does sit out there, and it's always interesting to see it get used like that. I mean, but and also I was so worried about it because Winter saw all those drones coming across, and you saw his reaction. He's like, just going for a baneling nest, gonna blow that up, and he really tried, but it just didn't work out. And it makes it easy when you can keep it a secret for at least a minute or so, but when it's known before you even start to use it, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So Winter, since he lost the last match, he did choose this map.
And it's a bit bigger, so the two players are trying to figure out where the other one is.
And making a nice little triad here on the map with their overlords.
SpyderSlayer admitting that he's not a fan, and I think Winter's ready to capitalize on that.
If you hear the loudness in the background, there's a pretty exciting fighting game finals going on over the way, it sounds like. But it looks like nothing too crazy out of both players. Spawning pools at exactly the same time. Some high-fiving, handshaking of overlords here as they're moving into the different bases across the map. Neither player has found each other yet. Winter is going for a pretty quick expansion here.
I think they can triangulate where the other one is at this point, though, based on that they can see each other's overlords and the trajectories of each.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I did that.
SpyderSlayer, however, is gone for a gas. He does have speed going down right away, so he's going to be going for one of those very quick Zergling plays like he's done in the past, while Winter is going a little bit more defensively, a little bit more economically. He has Queen coming down, a couple Zerglings coming out. Those aren't going to be all that aggressive, but SpyderSlayer definitely wants to get this going right out the gates, as he does have those Zerglings out, and his speed is about 1/3 of the way done.
And this expansion for SpyderSlayer is coming down a little bit later. Going for the metabolic boost before the expansion, and so he's going to have slower production because of that.
Yeah, we've seen him do this play a couple times. He really favors this and really likes it. We saw it be successful against Terran, or Protoss, I believe, actually earlier yesterday. But this is actually the same build he used against Winter yesterday that was not successful when Winter went for a very quick baneling nest, but now with Winter expanding, he's going to be able to get some damage done here. The Queen is kind of stuck on the ramp, so those Zerglings will be able to get a little bit of damage, maybe even trap it off creep, but Winter is not going to have any of that. He does pull his drones, but if SpyderSlayer can kill this Queen, that is going to be a big setback. He's not going to have nearly as much larva, does just get it done.
Barely done. So the Queen for SpyderSlayer is now heading down to his hatchery. He's feeling good about that pickup.
Metabolic boost is now completed for SpyderSlayer, so he does have very fast Zerglings, and is also putting down a baneling nest. So this is going to be much faster than Winter here. Although he is not making a lot of Zerglings at this point just yet. He did send those 4 across the map, and that was just really good positioning here. He was able to trap that Queen and also force Winter to stop mining a little bit. At this point, looking at the unit stab, it is 21 drones for SpyderSlayer and 18 for Winter. So killing that Queen already quite evident.
Absolutely. I mean, that does make a big pickup there, and I think that SpyderSlayer is feeling a little bit more confident now as he's got this Baneling Nest a little bit faster. I don't know if he's going to be able to capitalize on the downtime between the two finishing up. Winter does have a lot of Zerglings here coming across the map now, and their speed is going to be finishing up relatively soon.
Yeah, 2 Banelings on the way here for SpyderSlayer, so they are going to be completed by the time these Zerglings of Winter do get to SpyderSlayer's base. This is looking like it's going to turn into another one of these real intense high control games. SpyderSlayer smartly here using a little bit of his economic advantage early here in the game with more drones to put down a couple of spine crawlers. That could make a lot of difference. Once again here, 2 Banelings are done. Winter coming up into the base with 1 Zergling just to see what he has just as speed finishes. And he's going to have to turn around because he does not have the Banelings, but he has 6 in production right to the outside of SpyderSlayer's base. So here's going to be a pretty big engagement up here.
And Banelings are now coming in for Winter as well. SpyderSlayer's Banelings are getting, and he takes out so many Banelings there.
Not good for SpyderSlayer. Lost so many Zerglings. But now SpyderSlayer starting to micro around as well to get a equally good connection with the Zerglings of Winter. Does have that spine crawler there, takes a couple whacks, but going to get up into the main base. Not a lot of defense here. Going to have to do some micro with the drones.
And he's just going to move those straight down to his other expansion where he's got the spine crawlers. The problem, though, is that leaves his tech structures a little bit vulnerable, but there's not really a whole lot in here to get the job done before Zerglings are going to be popping as well.
Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and clear this out. SpyderSlayer is actually able to kill 2 of the Banelings of Winter before they finish, so he will not only kill those, but he will get the Zerglings back that were attacking them, and they will not explode. So looking like, looking at the units lost, I guess that's a good way to tell. Winter is lost a little bit more than SpyderSlayer here. So I feel like Winter would be in a really good position right now if he would not have had a equally massive Zergling loss to the single Baneling of SpyderSlayer as he did when going into SpyderSlayer's base. But now he wants to bring the heat back on Winter. He's heading across the map with the Zergling. Winter does have 3 Banelings in production here. SpyderSlayer is going to be very cautious though. Send those Zerglings right on into the base. And is he going to target down this Queen again to try and get that kill? Looks like he is. But
not getting a whole lot done there. And a lot of those ended up dying, and he really needs to kill some drones here, though, because Winter is leading the drone count. It looks like SpyderSlayer made a few more drones. They're both starting. Oh, wow, SpyderSlayer's making 12 drones now. Yeah. So really trying to drone up here.
And that's exactly what Winter did before SpyderSlayer ran across the map. So it looks like both players kind of evening out against SpyderSlayer going for the Roach Warren. This is kind of his typical follow-up on this. Let's see if it ends up being a good decision. Going for 3 more gas, so he's getting all the gas now, which typically we see him take this transition and then go right into the Mutalisks as well.
Yeah, you usually will get that small group of Roaches, but we haven't really seen him play a lot of ZVZs. In fact, I think the only ones that we've seen him play in this tournament are against Winter.
He does love his Mutalisks in all matchups. He has said a few times before, but you never know what's going to happen in these games. A lot of production going down. Roach Warren about to finish up here for SpyderSlayer while Winter is going for the lair.
There is a Baneling of Winter kind of hanging out in the center of the map. I think he's thinking he's going to see if he can get a small group of Zerglings caught off guard.
I love the physics in this game. Spinecrawler kills that Zergling and just kind of skids across the map. Engagement going down here in the middle with the Zerglings.
Ooh, huge connection there with that Baneling.
Winter in a little bit of a supply lead. SpyderSlayer just caught up here with making a few more units, but Roaches are going to be not in production just yet, but he is getting ranged upgrades. 10 more Zerglings, maybe just as a kind of a clutch defense. His lair is going to be finishing up as well. Winter preempting SpyderSlayer here and going for that Spire.
Yeah, he's going straight. He's not bothering with Roaches this time. He doesn't want to get into a Roach battle. He's just going straight for those Mutalisks. And frankly, if Roaches don't come out and start doing damage soon, he's going to be in real trouble from those Mutalisks.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Roach speed coming down, so it's definitely clear that SpyderSlayer wants to do a Roach push here.
What SpyderSlayer needs to do is get some intel on Winter. He hasn't really seen a whole lot. He doesn't really know super what's going on in his base. Needs to run maybe a couple of these Zerglings up here, but nice split there by SpyderSlayer, detecting that there was going to be a Baneling up there. But is also going to he's going to see the 3rd base here with these Zerglings, so he knows he's expanding, but the Spire is about done. But Winter does not have a huge bank, so he's not going to be able to make a huge clutch of Mutalisks just yet.
13 Roaches in production. Upgrades trekking along. 5 Mutalisks for Winter. There is nothing in SpyderSlayer's base that can deal with those once they arrive at this point.
He does have a few overlords in pretty good positions here. One here and one here. So he should see the Mutalisk heading out of the base, and that might give him just about enough time to build some spine crawlers. But I mean, the number of roaches he's made is a pretty big number, and just like SpyderSlayer doesn't have much to defend against the Mutalisk, Winter does not have a ton to defend against the roaches.
And those roaches are coming across the map now. Winter is aware of them. He sees them with those overlords. Mutalisks coming in. They're going to be taking out those banelings that were leading the charge, now getting picks off on the roaches. They may even be able to kill one before too much more is done. So yeah, they're getting some damage done here, and the roaches continue. It does take a lot of those volleys from Mutalisks to kill roaches, and they're going to march right on into this third base, going for drones first.
And especially being on creep here, those roaches are super fast with their speed upgrade. Mutalisk, not only, I mean, honestly, we were saying SpyderSlayer didn't have anything to defend against these roaches, but these defend against these Mutalisks, but these roaches are being quite effective against that, as it's really holding him back. And he is making a Hydralisk den behind this, which is now about half done, as well as Spore Crawlers. So those roaches do get cleaned up as a second batch shows up on the scene. Although there are a decent number of Zerglings here, which he's taking out pretty handily, and these Mutalisks doing quite a bit of damage as well.
Yeah, but these Mutalisks are being kept at home, which is giving SpyderSlayer some time to put down spores. As you said, get that Hydralisk den up. He's getting his 2-2 upgrades.
I didn't even notice how close he got to killing this hatch.
Oh my goodness, that's got to hurt. You know, he really wanted to get that down.
Yeah. Seems like with that second batch of roaches, he could have just run up there and tried to take it out. But now the Mutalisk is going to kind of clean out the overlords of SpyderSlayer. But the jig is up here, so he knows the Mutalisks are on the map. He has Spore Crawlers around, Queens. And he's got all the upgrades coming down for the roaches and hydras now, +2 attack, as well as tunneling claws. 5 Hydralisks now on the way, which will really help bolster these Spore Crawlers here and the extra damage they do to the bio of the Mutalisk.
Winter behind this Mutalisk push is switching into roaches, and he's getting those evolution chambers down to start on those upgrades as well. Mutas are moving in now, and there's no Spore Crawler at the front, and he's just going to start whacking away at these evolution chambers. The roaches taking big damage, trying to wait for that Spore Crawler, and it looks like that's going to be able to chase away the Mutalisks.
Yeah, Hydralisks do kind of get caught off guard a little bit, so he hasn't been able to get a big batch of them together to deal with these Mutalisks. There is now a Spore Crawler up front. Tunneling Claws is completed, so he could burrow some roaches across the map to do some damage here. A lot more Hydralisks are in production, 7 about to come out, as well as all the upgrades for the ranged units.
Winter continuing to he's getting some Spore Crawlers now, and continuing to get a few more Mutalisks. So he's up to 14. Chasing around, trying to keep this army of SpyderSlayer busy, trying to keep SpyderSlayer just in general busy, while he's working on his own roach push as well.
Yeah, SpyderSlayer is going to need to target down this Overseer here, otherwise the burrow is not going to be able to be useful to him. But Winter is just going to kind of go ahead and just swing up into the main base here. There is a Queen and 2 Spore Crawlers.
2 Banelings are moving in to the third base, all the drones, and they do get 3 kills over there, softening up a lot more. And there is a large group of Zerglings over there that are just kind of hanging out. The Mutalisks moving around, still trying to keep SpyderSlayer pulled in multiple directions. The Spine Crawler starting to move its way towards the third to try and prevent that from happening again.
Winter has quite a large group of roaches here now, but he doesn't really have any upgrades for them yet. They're kind of in process, and ranged attack level 1 is going to finish here soon. But if there is a big roach Hydra fight, SpyderSlayer has quite the advantage here due to the numbers. Spine Crawler trying to burrow here as Zerglings and Banelings are, and the drones are just going to go ahead and burrow as there is no detection here, so that will
but Winter does have that Overseer, so they could easily move over there and kill a lot of drones, but there are roaches coming out now, and those drones will go back to mining. The big Roach Hydra army of SpyderSlayer is going to try and go and finish the job, but oh my gosh, they're just walking right into all these roaches, and now the Mutalisks are coming from behind. SpyderSlayer's in a real pickle here.
He did have a few Banelings, and they did get some good connections, but the roach numbers for Winter are just too high.
Oh,
and
it's
he
so
also
close.
has.
Oh, and he does get it, though. He loses the whole army, but he did get the third base. So now he's going to have to deal with this attack from Winter coming. And there is Observer there, so he's taking damage on those roaches, even though they're burrowed. He's going to run back home and try and figure out how he's going to defend against this.
It is going to be pretty rough, though, because it was 189 supply to 130 here for Winter. So then this is just a lot of roaches, man. And he has 1 Spore Crawler and a handful of roaches up front here. He does have the upgrade advantage, so keep that in mind. So it doesn't take quite as many roaches to defend away if he's smart with it. He does have burrow, he does have tunneling claws, so he uses those things to his advantage. But I mean, this third base here is pretty much SOL at this point.
Yeah, he's trying to move around with these roaches. He's completely out of Hydralisks now. There are none. There's 3 on the field in total. They're kind of wandering around, but they're not in the main battle, so these Mutalisks are just free additional shots. The more roaches are coming in, this roach group is going to get cleaned up, and SpyderSlayer is definitely losing this third base, plus a lot of drones.
Yeah, it looks like this has gotten a little bit out of hand here for SpyderSlayer this game. Had some good ideas, but didn't really get it done. Winter was one step ahead a little bit in the transition to Mutalisks, honestly, I think is what made the difference here. A few more roaches here coming up for SpyderSlayer. There is a Spore Crawler and Spine Crawler there, which is going to help out a little bit, but upgrades will be finishing up here soon for Winter to equalize.
And more roaches are on the way. They continue to come in. They take down the Spine Crawler, and Mutalisks are able to come in now as the Spore Crawler has been taken down as well. The last remaining bastion of this wall is falling now, and there's the GG.
So a really good game there by the Winter fan club is applauding over here as Desro. So SpyderSlayer looks like, what do you, I'm at a loss to think of the exact thing that seemed like it really turned the game there.
Well, I think that SpyderSlayer was really kind of one-tracked mind on that third base. He really wanted to deny that base, and he spent his whole army to do it. He really lost everything there. And while Winter was starting to gain an advantage, I mean, the Mutalisks were enabling him to attack in paths that SpyderSlayer just couldn't attack in, you know? So he'd be pulled in different directions. They had the air advantage, and he did have a lot of Spore Crawlers, but they were just able to pull the army around and really control the map.
Yeah. Honestly, for as fast as he went for Zerglings and Zergling speed, only really having those 4 Zerglings across the map to do damage to that queen, I kind of feel like he needed to have a little bit more there, because that was a real opportunity to have that nice early Ling swell with speed to do some damage.
Yeah, he just didn't want to overcommit to something, though, because, I mean, at that stage, if you mess it up, then it's just the game. You just lose the whole thing right there.
So that was a very good game number 2, and we're going to have game number 3 here getting set up here shortly, and with a score of 1-1. But before we take a break real quick, we want to stop and tell you about Mythologic. We have already paid out 4th through 6th place, as those folks have finished up in this tournament here. And I want to say a big thanks to Mythologic for providing a boost for the prize pool. They put up $250 for the general prize pool, which increased the total pool to just about $1,000. They have also provided 3 Razor Mice, which will go to the top 3, which are duking it out right now. The winner of this game will be going to the grand final to fight for 1st and 2nd place, and the loser of this match will be 3rd place.
That's right, and so they are all guaranteed money. And that's
a significant amount of money.
Yeah, actually, I think the lowest that they can make at this point is about $130. So that's nothing to sneeze at this point. But the prize pool continues to increase the higher you get, obviously. $230 going to the 2nd place and $380 going to the top spot.
Yep, absolutely. So definitely something to fight for here. But we're going to take our quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes with game number 3.